Thanks everyone for coming back for another segment of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. I have Kim to my left, Mac. Correction. I have Kim to my right. I say again, as we'd say in the military. I say again. Kim is to my right, Mac is to my left. My name is TJ, and yeah, I screwed up the other one too. So anyways, we were kind of kicking around the idea who it's going to be after Joe. Yeah. And there's a reason why we say that. And I'll start off with the Tucker Carlson theory. The Tucker Carlson theory was the Democrats want Joe out of there quicker the better. Meaning, and the reason why Tucker Carlson thought that, and when I heard Tucker Carlson say this, I thought, could be something to this. The transition team is really that kind of released the dirt on Joe Biden's son and Joe Biden's brother. Why would the transition team do this? And we're saying, when we say the transition team, we're not talking the Republicans. We're not talking some right-wing conservative conspiracy group. We're talking about, we'll say, mainstream Democrats, or not even mainstream Democrats, but the far left Democrats, in that they want to. Why would the Democrats release this about Joe? Thoughts?
Well, because they want him out, and that's always been the plan, to get Joe out and put Kamala in. Kamala couldn't, she got about 2-3% of the vote in the Democratic. I think she was third or fourth. She couldn't even win a primary, and now she's going to be president of the United States. As soon as they can get rid of Joe, who's... I don't mean to be unkind here. He's just clearly not well. He's not the guy he was.
And we have to watch your YouTube standards.
5 or 6 years ago, I would say. He's clearly in decline. He moves like he's 150 years old. He's just not. He's not well.
Well, I've wondered if we're watching the Democrat Party coming full circle to the point where they are now eating their own.
Yeah.
For instance, to the far left, it's time for Nancy Pelosi to go. To the far left, it's time for Senator Feinstein to go. To the far left, I don't know how readily they'll say this, but to the far left, they're just fine with Joe going.
And you might see him get Joe Manchin because he's a problem for them. At some point, they might come out with whatever they have on Joe. That is the tactic of really all of politics. Get something on someone and then blackmail them. J. Edgar Hoover was the master of that until he ran into Nixon, who was the master of it. And I think Nixon Hoover.
Well, I think since we must agree that this last election was just fine and dandy and perfectly above board.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken, and so
some of them stuttered.
In any event, we all have to agree that this election was so fine and dandy that now we have our darling new man in the White House, is what I'm going to start referring to him as, perhaps the new man in the White House. But
the occupant.
You know what? It could. You know what?
That's all he's going to be.
Keep it gender neutral, because there could be a new occupant in the White House, being Kamala Harris.
Well, we could get into predictions as to how long and who.
Well, she already claimed to be president several times.
Yes, that's right. He even claimed it, that it would be a Harris-Biden administration. They both said it.
Yeah, they both said it, and in fact, we did a video on it.
Yeah.
And other people have said it too. So... And have introduced her as president.
Yeah, well, yeah, they said the next president of the United States. Which is common to say at a political rally if you're the nominee.
If you're the nominee for president.
I don't believe I ever heard Mike Pence announced as the next president of the United States.
I just get the feeling they so badly want AOC types from one end to the other in the House and at every government position imaginable, that it's got to be someone like AOC. And if you don't, you know what? if you don't submit to AOC, then off with your head.
Well, unless they change the Constitution, which they might well, because they, since the Supreme Court decided to take a dirt nap, they can change anything they want. They can do anything they want. They'll. She's not legally old enough to be in the spot of vice president. You have to be at least 35 years old to assume the presidency, which can happen at any time.
You bring up the Constitution that clearly didn't matter in this last above-board election. It clearly doesn't matter in regards to enforcement of any rule of law or anything. So why not just they're going to pack the court. They're going to do this or that. So, you know what? Constitution doesn't matter.
I took a stab at that topic before in saying that what happens when the court gets stacked. Anything they want happens when the court gets stacked. You can get on the court and they can decide that the sky is purple, or they can get on and decide that water is no longer wet, or that gravity doesn't exist. They can decide. They're going to make the court their personal rubber stamp for everything they want to do, which will be take your guns, take your income, take your property, take your life if they want to.
Well, part of the problem is they've almost already stacked the courts in Michigan.
Well, we elect our judges here, and
but the Democrat Party here has almost taken.
Supposedly, there's a conservative majority, but that only goes to January 1st. Then it's going to flip.
That's what I was going to say.
You end up with what we have in Michigan here is essentially a lame duck Supreme Court, which is just the idea of that is asinine, and because they won't do their job and charge our governor with contempt of court, which any of us, it would have happened like that. She's ruining people's lives. She's killing people. She ought to be charged with murder. She's a horrible human being.
She should be in prison.
And she should be in jail for doing what she's doing, but nothing is going to happen, and nobody's going to stop her.
All right. Anything else?
Well, let's get into... I want to continue this because I think the point of this was to who's coming after Joe. Well, who's coming after Joe, I think, is going to be Cory Booker.
Oh, my gosh.
Because
I didn't even consider that.
He and Kamala Harris
You mean Spartacus?
Spartacus, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, she's black, even though she isn't. And he's an idiot. And they are both deep Marxists. They both want all of your means to protect yourself. They're going to take those. And if you don't think they can, I'm telling you, I think you're living in a fantasy world. These imaginary shootouts that you, even if you were to win them, then what? I just, that's who I think's coming. I think it's going to be Cory Booker.
Oh, Cory Booker's frightening. He's the most frightening man I've ever seen.
Very dark future for this country now that they've pulled off this
legitimate election.
Very, very, very legitimate election in which no one voted multiple times. That didn't happen. We all know that in Wayne County they've never done things outside the law, even though they've got precincts with over 100% turnout. It was all perfect. The people have spoken.
Yes. Cory Booker is the most racist man.
Of course he is.
That has.
Well, he can't be racist.
Well, he wants to be Spartacus.
Yeah.
He's the most racist man that's walked this earth.
He disqualified himself when he said that, as far as I was concerned. So who's anybody else got a candidate? Who could it be?
Honestly, I almost completely forgot about Spartacus there.
Yeah. But who else could it be? You mentioned AOC. Like I said, at least for right now, it's not constitutional that she could.
Oh, I think they'll make it constitutional.
Well, they could, but that takes some steps.
Yes, because you got to figure. As I believe the Democrats are looking to get rid of Joe
quick.
I think within 3 to 6 months.
So Kamala Harris will be the next person in the White House after Joe. She's going to get to pick her vice president, yeah. And so, yeah, why not pick Cory Booker? And in answer to your question.
What about that lady from Minnesota?
Amy Klobuchar?
Yeah.
I don't know that she's far left enough for them.
Pretty far left.
She's leftist, no question.
You
I
know
just
what?
don't know that is she as far left as. Well, I mean,
Bernie.
You just made me think of something. Could Whitmer be not trying to negotiate her way to DC?
Into there, yeah.
That would
I've always suspected that.
But this would be the path for her.
Sure.
You know,
she could prove that she held the people and controlled the people.
Yeah.
And find herself in the good graces of Kamala Harris.
Sure.
Oh yeah. And you know what? You already got that Cynthia Johnson saying how the Democrat Party owes Detroit and Wayne County.
Yeah, they want their payoff.
Yeah. They want their payoff.
But there's nothing wrong with asking for money for your vote.
So, you know what? Now I'm kind of talking myself into this theory here. You know?
That it could be Whitmer?
Oh, yeah.
And you think Amy Klobuchar, I think Cory Booker.
But I'm thinking, you know, what better reward to
Bernie's
Whitmer?
going to be out there saying, hey, where's my payoff?
Oh, Bernie's gotten his payoffs. They've ripped
So-
that guy off. He should have been the nominee instead of Hillary Clinton. And he took his money and went home.
I'm telling you, I think there's something.
Buttigieg took his money and went home. Klobuchar took her money and went home. They were all doing better than Harris and Biden. And yet, all of a sudden, they all magically decide to quit at the same time. Elizabeth Warren is another one.
Well, all right. Anything else, everyone?
No, I think that covered
All right. So we'll see who's going to be the next person in the White House after the man Joe. All right. As always, be safe, watch your six, and do not tread on me.